Right.
We're on. Oh, we had a moment of dead air there. So sorry, everybody. Welcome to Hot Takes. It is I, Young Shiro, and my co-host, Skeleton Lipstick. Say hello to everybody, Skelly.
Hi guys, how we doing?
We're incredibly excited to have all of you guys here. Let me zoom in on you a little bit there, Skelly. And we've got a very special guest tonight. While I introduce the guest, I'll just fix your display there. We did something different. We had a community vote, and we asked the members of the public, and we asked the members of the server, and we asked the mods on the server if they would nominate somebody that they thought they should bring on the show. And this won't be the only time that we do that, by the way. And we had a weighted vote, right? And we ended up with a beloved member of the community who's kind of new, but has been doing a very exciting, very, I guess I could say cutting edge, but like very, very new, something that nobody really does, at least in my experience thus far. Nobody is making Lego-themed, vapor-adjacent, like dungeon synth-esque music. So you guys are in for an exciting show tonight because Dreamcastle was the overwhelming most popular choice for us to bring on the show. And we'll do another community vote after a few episodes, but we are so excited to get to know them better. And they've been really just kind of blowing up in popularity. But anyways, to introduce the show, we're a independent art and music talk show and podcast hosted by a couple of vaporwave DJs, one of which is a musician. And we just ask that everybody, invite a friend, share on social media, jump in and join us, and just kind of try to keep it clean and chat. Try to be kind to each other, talk to each other in good faith. Punching down is not okay. Punching up is actually encouraged. And just a reminder that we don't do any sort of racism, sexism, transphobia, or xenophobia in the Hot Takes chat. Burke, holy shit, thank you for the $50 donation. Damn.
Oh my god, thank you. Wow.
We can buy you an even better webcam. And the commands. Let's talk about the emojis. Make an emoji and it'll show up on the screen. And then I'm just gonna type in all the commands on the chat so that you guys know. And then per the intro screen, we just jumped on Blue Sky. If you guys want to follow our socials, you can follow us on various different social media platforms for ideas or for reasons that are pretty obvious. We are trying to move away from X, formerly known as Twitter. We'll still be on Twitter, but I'm personally going to be kind of shifting most of our promo onto Facebook, Insta, and Blue Sky. So follow us on socials, and we're going to start tonight with some recommendations, courtesy of Skeleton Lipstick, who is one hell of a tastemaker, let me tell you. What do you got for everybody, Chris?
Oh, okay. So I'm going to start with an album by a producer who I'm not sure who is known as Horizon. I'm not sure if you guys have
Horizon, yeah.
You know Horizon, right?
Yeah, like a chill synth artist.
Okay. Well, yes. So he has this album called Data Fire that came out in 2023, and I wouldn't call it a chill synth. Yeah, sure, he's done a lot of chill synth before, but no. This is like total 2011, 2012 atmospheres and sounds and textures. We're talking like stuff like Wasted Nights or Dog World, or maybe the best example I can bring up would be like the first Neon Indian album, Psychic Chasms. This has got all those sounds on it. This is a great fucking album. And even when you just look at the cover for it, you can already tell kind of what you're in for with this. So like, you've got some real bouncy, fun grooves, and then some more like intentional sort of pensive stuff, like FM Skyline sounding stuff, but filtered through that sort of broken sounding melty synths that you heard a lot more back in like the early 2010s. And this is a wonderful return to you gotta listen to this album. Data Fire by Horizon. AV Input is my favorite song, but they're all great. This is This just listen to the whole album. It's great. It's really fun, and it's definitely some sounds that you know what? Because like it's not like we have moved away completely from the sounds of sort of a high frequency cut off, melty, data broken sort of synthesizers. We still do that, but I feel like what was lost was a lot of playfulness. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It became more
absolutely, thoroughly.
intentional and
Holy
more
shit,
like
you guys! Thank you. We're getting a lot of donations rolling in, but
wow,
yeah,
thank you.
thank
So
you.
it was, I think that that's never gone away, but it's been incorporated into some more traditional songwriting style. But this is definitely back to like that bouncy, fun, like about to fall apart, really, really playful. You know what I mean? Not trying to
I
like
just
be
opened that
too.
track on a tab. Definitely checking that shit out.
It's a really fun album. I've been aware of Horizon for a while. I hadn't really listened to any of his stuff, and I just did. And I've been wanting an album like this for a long time, and glad I checked it out. So you guys should too. So check it out. And then another album I'm going to recommend is by so I guess what he's maybe mostly known for is sort of barber beat sort of sounding stuff, which is Lost Traveler. But it's
Oh, I love that guy.
yeah, Lost Traveler. So, but I think he's got a recent album called No Continuity and Order. And I guess that this is maybe like demos and stuff that he was making and that maybe weren't going to fit on other albums. Maybe he's been making them for a while. I assume that these are a lot of stuff that he'd been kind of playing around with and then just didn't put together on any of the albums because, well, it maybe just didn't thematically go with other albums. So this is a kind of album I really like because it does have a lot of late night lo-fi, a lot of barber beats, a lot of just ambient. It's a really enjoyable mixed bag of songs. And I was kept guessing at to which type of texture I was going to hear next. So sometimes I don't always like to. I have to be in the mood to listen to a full album sometimes of any kind of traditional, of any kind of genre. To tell you the truth,
I feel
no
that.
matter what it is. So this was really fun. This is like a mixtape, and I really enjoyed it. You should listen to it as well. And then the last album I'm going to recommend is by the chill synth artist Caspro, who put out. So he's an album that came out this year called Earth Town. And this is very fun. This is very, very cool. It is chill synth, but it's definitely filtered through an Italo disco style. So I don't know why I haven't heard enough of that. I'm sure I have heard that before, but I don't remember any album that had it featured so prominently, that had that influence featured so prominently. That makes so much sense.
Interesting kind of.
Well, it makes so much
layering.
sense. Somebody should be doing like chill synth that's a little bit more Giorgio Moroder or Fancy, the artist Fancy or any of those guys. You know what I mean? Like, and this album pretty prominently displays that influence on it. So if you want a chill synth album that's got a slightly different influence to it, I would check out that album.
Damn, dude. You make it all sound very enticing.
I do what I can.
Nicely done. We got Horizon, Lost Traveler, and Caspro. Yeah, people are. I would say people are vibing, but people are appreciating your robe.
It's Dolce and Gabbana.
Yep, Dolce. Whoa! For those of you that are listening in via podcast, Skelly is adorned in a Dolce and Gabbana robe.
This is my house coat that I put on when I get up. I didn't have time to dress up for this episode, I'm in my relaxation.
You look classy. Currently. Gotta say,
well, you're
man,
too kind.
I don't,
gentleman.
I don't know that I have a hot take. This is what our 74th episode. I'm running on empty. I'm gonna have to start crowdsourcing the hot takes. I've talked about everything from albums being too short to songs being too long to electronic music all being called dance or club edits, and why do they put original mix in parentheses? Just don't put anything there at all. That's the original song. Too many people that you put little features. Just don't list all those people. I don't know, man.
You need a pipe that blows bubbles, yeah.
I guess lyrics are overrated. The synthesizer is the most interesting sounding instrument, and music that doesn't have melody is boring.
Music that doesn't have melody is boring. That's kind of a hot take.
You know what? Actually, I like things like deconstructed club music
that
are very like.
Whoa! A lot of what you've recommended to me lately is music without a melody.
Okay, there are some exceptions.
Wait, you listen to all kinds of music without melody. You listen to One Tricks Point Never, or what are you considering melody?
One
Like a
Tricks Point,
repeated phrase?
no, just like notes, you know,
Okay,
I
all
don't
right.
know,
So noise. You don't like noise music?
no, and I'm not ever gonna stand here and say noise music is bad. It's just not for me. Okay, so you're not gonna argue with me about the synthesizer being the most interesting instrument?
Me? Of course not. Why would I? Whoa, are you kidding? I
I'm
abandoned
sorry,
all
like
other. I literally abandoned all other instruments for the synthesizer a decade ago.
they can make any
No
sound you
longer.
want. Why would you play anything else?
Well, because there is there's a history with all the other instruments, and they're these beautiful
Fair.
pieces of art that create beautiful music. And I mean, I understand. I know I play guitar. I don't really play it anymore, but if you can do something with it that's interesting, and if you can express yourself through it, absolutely, go do your thing.
I sincerely respect people who learn how to play other instruments because that shit sounds hard. And some people in chat do have some good points. Certain instruments
One thing
have
you can't actually
specific
ever do
tones
with the
and
synthesizer.
timbres.
That's interesting. One thing you can't ever do with the synthesizer is recreate the sounds of original instruments particularly
That is true.
well.
That is true.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't make the saxophone. Someone mentioned that. Like, you actually have to make something that sounds unnatural, like an unnatural saxophone, and then just use the fact that it's unnatural to your advantage when you're writing with it.
Why would you use the saxophone when you could use the TB-303?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I'm just kidding. Lyrics are overrated. Anybody?
Lyrics are not overrated. I think that they're great. I don't really, even if it's just a phrase, I think that they're.
Oh, I love it when a song has like just a sentence like that's just repeated. But like, I don't know, like iambic pentameter and shit. Like,
there's like a difference. There's like, well, here's the thing about lyrics is like, are you going to write something vague that it's kind of difficult to elucidate, or are you going to write something that's like straightforward and like you're going to have to that like you can follow it along and experience it. There's you can write lyrics like, I don't know, like Destroyer, and it's like this weird poetry that doesn't make any sense, or you can write lyrics like, I guess, like the Front Bottoms, and it's just like all the things that's been happening to you. Like, and how you feel about it. So I don't know. Depends.
I'm mostly taking the piss.
That's the two big schools of writing lyrics. It seems like to me.
I respect lyricists, and I do like singable songs. I think
I just do the ones that they
am
talk
moving
a lot.
Away. Yeah. But you know what? My opinion doesn't matter because I'm just taking the piss, and everyone's tastes and interests are equally valid. The fact of the matter is, enough jibber jabber. We've got a very special, very skilled, and very sweet gentleman that we want to introduce y'all to. I came to know about Dreamcastle via the Hot Takes Discord. I think that he was invited by somebody. I don't remember, but a soft-spoken, kind of, I don't want to say aloof. That almost sounds like you don't want to be around. But anyways, just very like quiet, nonchalant person who occasionally, when their work would get plugged, would always catch my attention because, of course, I'm an adult fan of Lego. But the thing is
I think they're catching everyone's attention right now.
There's so much nostalgia.
One of the most talked about artists around, in my opinion.
There's so much. Yes, and you're gonna get into that, I'm sure. But like the nostalgia around, the 80s or malls or cars or fucking I don't know is a little. I don't want to say overwrought or passé, but it's been done. We all have that shared kind of nostalgia. But like centering your project around a specific toy that is a very world-building kind of toy, I feel incredible nostalgia whenever I'm putting together sets that I remember wanting as a child in the early 90s. And I just think that like Dreamcastle found something that nobody was doing, turned it up to 11, and does it incredibly well. And we can, of course, get into how they render for their videos and all the details about how they do what they do. But after discovering them and people being really impressed with their work, I was very pleased that they were the overwhelming choice for this community vote episode. So without further ado, go ahead and unmute yourself, buddy. I want to go ahead and bring Dreamcastle onto the show tonight. Welcome to Hot Takes.
Hi.
Oh, wow.
Thank you for having me, Hot Takes.
I didn't realize you were a Lego minifig. Holy shit.
I mean, that's what I've been saying all along. But,
That is true. and it is said that you actually perform in I would say a costume, but just as yourself.
I saw some pictures of this. That's crazy. We'll get into that eventually, I guess.
We've got to get into that. The story behind that is amazing too. What are you holding in your right hand? Is that a coin?
That is a key.
You got the wand in one hand and a key in the other. Okay.
Yeah, silver
Very
key
cool.
from the Harry Potter sets of the early Zeros.
Nice. Very cool. Dreamcastle, before we start getting to know you and hearing about your work, what did you think about my just shooting from the hip takes? Do you have any thoughts about lyrics and music or melody, or what's the other stupid thing I said? Synthesizers as opposed to traditional instrumentation.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I was thinking about is that even if like a synthesizer theoretically can accurately synthesize every sound, like the experience of playing a physical instrument is something that can't be replaced by a synthesizer, like touching the strings and like, you know, getting calluses on your fingers.
Ooh, yeah. Good point.
Feeling the sound come out of the wood. I'll play guitar as well, so speaking directly from experience. But yeah, I mean, like, I love synthesizers, and I love that like they can allow me to play like an erhu or a dulcimer and not have to actually play the real thing. But you know, they can't really replace the tactile experience of the instrument itself.
I guess that would be like using rendering software to replace the tactile experience of building a Lego set. Just doesn't really do it justice.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I mean, it just has its place. Each has its place. Yeah.
Well, guys, just as a reminder, we do take questions at the top of the hour. But for this first hour, we're going to get into the nitty-gritty, and Skelly's going to is gonna help us get to know Dreamcastle a little better.
All right. Well, so I guess actually the first question I want to ask you is, I mean, I kind of just want to start off with what does Legos mean to you? Like, when did you start finding yourself getting more attached to them, and have you had this sort of I don't know, because the way you've talked about Legos as being a world building experience. I mean, when was your first Lego set? Let's start with that.
Yeah. Well, I definitely got my first Lego set probably around 6 or 7. It was the Bi-Wing Baron.
Adventurers.
Adventurers.
Yeah, with Baron von Baron.
Yeah. Exactly.
I had that one too.
I had no idea. Yeah. My brothers had Legos at that point, so like, but I couldn't touch them really without them killing me. But this was like the first thing that was my own. And I had no idea what the guy's name was, so I just made up a name, Dr. Leonard.
Dr. Leonard.
I love that.
I think my mom had a Dr. Leonard, so like I just like Dr. Leonard.
I love that.
Well, that's like a thing that you do. Well, it's funny. It's a thing that you do when you're a kid, is because you have such a small source of information and experience to draw from that you just sometimes it almost helps you make sense of the world. Like you hear adults say things, or you see people around, and then you have your own small worlds that you play in, and that kind of bleeds into it. And then you have then you kind of like start figuring it out through your toys or your items that you own. It makes a lot of sense, actually.
Exactly. And that Lego is perfect for that, because
very much so
you're rearranging things, like whatever's in your mind, you're creating it. And yeah, that toys childhood, all about processing the world for sure.
That's actually I'm so sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, it's just I wanted to make a quick side note, was that it's a very common thing in a lot of psychiatric practices sometimes these days, is to give people like a sandbox of toys and to just arrange them and then ask them questions about what that means. So that concept that we do as children, it can be used today, and it almost feels like maybe it is being used today through the work that you're doing now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Lego's always been really powerful for me. It's been there. It was there. It was my favorite toy my entire childhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the 90s, and the magazines. We got the magazines, like Mania.
Oh yeah, the
Shop at Home
Lego
catalogs.
Maniac and all
That
the
was also
catalogs.
That
Got to
was
build
also
like crazy.
such a big like part of the experience.
I just remember not being really, I came from a working class family, so we didn't really have the money for that. And just like gazing at all the toys. And they made these great, if you remember, Chris, they made these awesome dioramas with like art in the background. And there would be like so many sets. Like if it was like a pirate, whatever, there would just be like minifigs everywhere. Like it was always so overwhelmingly cool and fun looking. Like transporting you to another world,
Yeah, those images are just incredibly special even now. Like the actually setting up a diorama and like photographing it with lighting and the terrain made of whatever it is, cardboard or rock.
I always kind of wondered what they made those out of.
Yeah, the effect was incredible. Just way better, I feel like, than anything that came after, even with the computer rendered stuff. Yeah, visceral. That's really what I was going for with Lego Castle. I was really trying hard to capture like the feeling of the physical diorama sets. Like not merely trying to make like, oh, this is a forest and Lego people are in it, but like this is a diorama and you're inside of it.
That's my favorite
I love that.
part.
I mean, I have so many memories of dioramas for, when you would get the even, and it wasn't just Legos. That was a big thing in the 90s and 80s as well, how they would have the toys to you. You're right. It wasn't just the toy and the setup and the actual figures. And then, there was it was the lighting. It was the stuff
Very
behind.
much so.
It was so dramatic, and it elevated your interest in it. And so like to picture the toy or the blocks or whatever itself is one thing, but then to picture yourself in those pictures or dioramas that you saw advertised to you, it brings it to another a level of an experience and remembering that. But interesting.
Yeah,
I just remember with the 90. I'll make it quick. The 1996 Lego Creator PC game, you could do everything from the perspective of the minifig. You could just walk around and walk upstairs and go in sets, and I was just like, this is amazing. I want to be in a Lego set so bad.
I totally had that game.
Hell yeah. My computer was so shitty, and it was like one frame every 2 seconds. but I tried to enjoy it.
Oh yeah, with that game, I mean, it was janky, even if you had a good computer. The more bricks you put on the screen, it would just all start breaking down, and the polygons were just kind of phasing in and out, and just everything exploded.
I remember you could throw the little TNT brick from the Lego Western theme. You could throw the little TNT brick, and it would actually make everything explode, and the bricks would go everywhere. And you hear that little clinking noise of the just going everywhere.
Yeah, I definitely remember the frame rate slowing down if you had too many bricks on the screen and you exploded them all.
All right, so let me. Can I ask you, what kind of music were you listening to as a child? What were you growing up with?
Well, this is a very strange story.
Please.
We live for that kind of content.
Ask me. So I grew up religious.
Me too.
Isaac did as well, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it was somewhat of a bubble. So I was bathed in CCM, contemporary Christian music.
Me too.
Isaac was as well, actually. Yeah, he had the same experience, or similar experience.
Yeah. It's it's a totally weird biosphere of music if you don't know anything about it, but and other than that, my dad listened to classical and early medieval music.
Early medieval? Oh my, really?
What?
So you did? Oh, go on. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, you can see how that trickled down to
Yeah,
me,
yeah,
because
definitely.
I definitely thought it was boring at the time. My dad used to like regular music, and once in a while he would put on like the radio Beatles, but
So
um,
your father
this,
liked religious music and medieval music.
yep,
That's
and
so
you know,
fascinating.
A
actually,
lot
I
of
don't
lot of
think he listened
mysticism
to.
happening in this on all in both
Oh,
those things.
definitely,
You know, a lot of
like,
mysticism that definitely is bleeding into what you do now too. Actually,
Right.
yeah, I mean, belief, like the belief in invisible things, it's definitely like a concept that's totally rooted itself in all of my work. We're
believe
just
in
like
physical things like that.
just the unseen world and like metaphysical stuff. Um, yeah, in writing this story for Lego Castle, actually, I tried to channel some of the feelings that I had growing up, like because when you believe in demons and angels, you can have some moments of like incredible fear, because you're just like, what's, what invisible things are around me in my room in the
Right.
dark, like or like, God being described as a being that you literally can't look at without dying, and like angels having like eyes all over their bodies.
Biblically
um
accurate angels.
Right. It's like it's really interesting, and I put some of that in the backstory of Lego Castle,
Okay.
uh, just for fun, because I thought that's something I know, that's something unique I can put in there.
You know, yeah, absolutely. Writing about what you know. People say write about what you know a lot, and that doesn't just mean experiences. That means it's like literal experiences. That means what you how the feelings that you really understand. You know what I mean? And you know the fear of the unknown and this and your particular way of growing up. Like you know what that feels like. And you know that's also writing about that, like what you're saying. Like you're trying to explain what you're feeling through your work. Makes a lot of sense, and that's interesting that you mentioned that.
Hmm. Yeah. The third thing I grew up with is video game music. Um,
Nice.
and I guess that's what I pretty much still listen to, because
Hell yeah.
I don't know. We it's funny because I remember this distinct time when video games weren't popular. Like they were like the things that weird people did in corners.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
my brother and I loved them, and like the only way to listen to the music was to play the game, or like take a tape cassette and record the music off of the game directly. And so we were constantly doing this with the games we liked, especially Sonic, because it had a sound test and you could just cycle through every track and record it directly to a cassette. Or eventually, like, if you had a. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Just like the weird BC days
Oh yeah, because I think I was
before the
muted when I said
internet.
that. I was talking
Yeah.
about there being sections of games where you could listen to the music from the launch menu. I think I was muted.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
What other
So
games?
that was a big deal.
What other games? Game OSTs? Like what were some of your favorite OSTs?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all the Sonic games for the Genesis were definitely our favorites. Mario for sure. We had a few. We had a NES, and there was just a lot of music on that we liked, like Mega Man.
Oh,
Always
the
had
Mega Man 2 soundtrack was
the best.
banging.
Mm-hmm.
Very
Yeah.
good choice.
Later, when the GameCube came along, Metroid Prime was just, and it still is, one of my absolute favorite game soundtracks ever.
I need to get into the Metroid games. I love the Castlevania games, but like I tried to play Super Metroid and I guess just didn't have the attention span for it. I need to revisit that.
That's a brutal game. Uh, I only just beat it this year,
Yeah.
actually. It's good, but some of the other ones are a little more easy to get into, like Metroid
Yeah.
Prime.
Yeah, that's the one
Legendary
for GameCube,
soundtrack.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember the teasers for that. Very big deal when it came out.
Yeah, and I mean, what else? There's so many. pretty much any time the music in a game was great. We loved it. We loved the game.
When,
For,
when did you start making? Did you start learning instruments at a young age, or did that come later, or when did you start? What was the first instrument that you picked up?
yeah, piano. When I was a kid, we had a piano. My whole family was musical.
Really?
Everyone played something. So just we had a piano, and I banged out. I taught myself songs on it. Eventually, I took lessons, and eventually, I moved on to the guitar when I was a teenager, and played that for a long time. And unfortunately, I gathers dust nowadays. But yeah, I mean, learning the guitar was such a big influence on me, and of course, so many other people.
Were you still mostly listening to only Christian music at this time, or was something expanding when you got into your teenage years?
Yeah, let me think. In high school, I pretty much started listening to, I was still listening to mostly Christian music, though I started listening to the fringe of Christian music.
Oh, you were a Tooth and Nail Records fan.
Like MX, like Jars of Clay, or MXP, something with.
Yeah, there's this one band called Disciple.
Okay.
Oh yeah, were they like a metal band?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Metal.
I love that we refer to this as fringes of Christian rock. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, there's
that's a good way of putting it. You're like, you're that close. You're that close to like the alternative music world.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's an entire spectrum for sure. And I'm like, oh yeah, they're screaming in this music, and my parents are like, what do you listen to?
Yeah, right.
It's just Christian music,
I brought up Christian
empowering.
Dude, I remember bringing up 2000s Christian, like I was talking specifically about metalcore, like Norma Jean and Zayo and stuff like that, and somebody was like, I will always be an Extol fan. They were like, I don't know anything about Christian music, but Extol is like phenomenal music because it's so technical. I don't know if you ever listened to them, but like it's some good shit, like just because they were religious doesn't mean they weren't skilled.
Yeah, Christian metal was, or is, I don't know, I haven't listened to it in a while, was its own like sub-ecosphere of CCM. Like I feel like I had friends who weren't Christians that listened to it just because it sounded good.
What other artists were you into besides Disciple? At various stages of your childhood.
Yeah, I mean, there was this, everyone loved DC Talk.
Oh yeah,
I remember
DC
Jesus
Talk.
Freak.
Yeah, the Beatles of Christian music.
Right.
And my friends and I, fifth grade goofballs, we all loved the Newsboys.
Oh yeah. DC Talk,
Newsboys.
Audio Adrenaline, Newsboys.
Adrenaline.
Jars of
Jars of Clay.
Jars of Clay they were from like the 90s. Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
Jars of Clay and Switchfoot eventually.
Jars of Clay. Actually,
Switchfoot as well.
I got a little bit, like 90s.
So you were into kind of like the power pop alternative.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah, basically.
Very cool.
Yeah. And I mean, video game music was always right there. Metroid Metal. I don't know if you guys heard of that.
Okay. I mean, I've not. I've heard that like some people would play like Final Fantasy music, like metal style, but I haven't heard specifically the Metroid stuff.
Yeah, that Metroid Metal. This guy who he covered all the Metroid songs in a metal format. Played all the instruments. That made me want to learn how to play those songs on guitar. Never got into a band, but
damn,
I dreamed about it.
Well, did you record your own music at some point? Prior to this, were you making your own music?
I did record my own music. I just on GarageBand in my bedroom.
Yeah.
Played all the instruments one at a time. Just would cover things and mess around and like even do hip hop. Because I also liked hip hop.
What hip hop were you listening to? Do you remember?
Just also Christian hip hop.
Oh, okay.
There wasn't very much of that.
There was like a little.
It's enough, I guess.
There was a bit. What's the? I don't
There was
remember.
furthermore KJ52,
Oh, KG52.
and like that's it.
Great. Mm-hmm.
So, let me ask you: at some point, you're gonna be moving away from the strictly Christian influence, because obviously there's a lot of existential themes going on in Lego Castle, Dreamcastle. So, at what point do you start moving to other influences? It doesn't even have to be musical, but maybe any kind of artistic influence that sort of starts changing the way that you approach your art. When did that start happening?
Well, probably college.
Okay.
Yeah. Definitely there was a lot. Yeah, I mean that was a while ago, definitely 12, 14 years ago that I just kind of struck out. I think I got sick of Christian music, honestly. It got
That can
samey.
happen. Yeah. It might be like, you just kind of outgrew listening to the same thing over and over again, or hearing the same message over and over again.
And basically the internet was just my gateway into just more obscure genres. Like chiptune was probably
That tracks, brother. That tracks.
Yeah.
You like the video game music and the metal. Of course, you would be a chiptune fan.
Makes so much sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Interesting.
Yep.
That definitely burst upon my senses and like introduced me kind of to it's not just the music but the community.
Yes, for
the
sure.
people involved who are just like these brilliant engineers and musicians.
They're crazy. I've gone to some of these chiptune
A lot of hardware
festivals
shit
before.
too.
Oh my god, when they pull out their Game Boys and they're just like wailing on them,
Yeah.
like the amount of I don't, it's crazy. What's the software they use for that again on the Game Boy?
LSDJ.
LSDJ. Sick.
Yeah. I felt the same way, just amazed at what these people can do with the old consoles, and it's definitely instilled in me a love of the analog as well.
Did you get into circuit bending at all?
Absolutely.
Oh, I heard about it. I mean, I can't understand the engineering side of any of it. I just watch other people do it and gasp.
Right.
Gasp.
Yeah. But yeah, and just like 8B. I don't know if any of you heard of 8BC. It was this huge kind of platform for chiptune, and I joined it, and then it like went down in a few months. But there was all this music from it that was in a huge torrent that I downloaded over the course of like 24 hours and then listened to. Yeah, I mean, I fell in love with that communal aspect, I think, of the music. And
that's interesting. So that was your first experience to being part of like a musical community.
Yeah, I would say so.
Very cool. Was this 14 years ago?
Yep. Yeah, right in 2010, 2011.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Were you making your own music at this point? Were you just a part of the community? Or were you a part of the community? And
I dabbled here and there. I didn't have a ton of time.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
So mostly I was just Googling, downloading.
That was the great thing about the internet, was you could become part of these communities even though maybe they weren't, right in your backyard.
Mm-hmm. And all the music was free, so like I just went for it. I was just Pokemon hunting for great tracks. Just anything that could like become like my soundtrack, like.
Celadon just linked a archive of 8BC tracks in chat.
That, So you said that community kind of disbanded at some point. What did you do after that?
Yeah, what did I do? Well, the thing is, I was into folk music at the same time.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Which is funny because folk is so like.
Were you ever a fan of Bibio?
Who's that?
I feel like Bibio is like one of the only people who's ever like
Bibio.
fused like folk and chiptune type music.
He was
Bibio on
cool.
Warp
I'm
Records.
not sure how well known he is by other people, but Bibio is very
No,
cool.
No,
I got
that
into
sounds
Bibio
you may
cool.
around
not
that
be
time.
into that anymore.
There was
But
I got into Bibio around that time that there was like the IDM explosion of
uh-huh.
music.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like CEX
Yeah.
and like Kid 606
Uh-huh.
and you know what I'm talking about. Like there
Yep.
was like a big point.
Like
That was my first
early to
and
mid
like
2000s IDM and down
yeah,
tempo shit.
exactly. That was a big deal for me. I
Oh,
remember
he got
hearing
the
that music.
sparkles back on. Hell yeah. I wondered what
Yeah,
happened with that.
Oh, nice.
I
So
had to take it
okay.
offline for a sec.
So you're getting
Yeah,
into folk music. You're kind of going in another direction at this point.
yeah.
You getting back into guitar at this point, or just sort of like taking a break from music in general?
I was doing guitar, and I was honestly just surfing Spotify and just like I don't know. I was loving Sufjan Stevens.
Hell
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
We both love
love
Yeah,
Sufjan
man.
as well.
Well, I'm one of my favorite
yeah.
all time favorite artists. Absolutely.
I I was really in love with his production
You know, and that's
values
another
and
artist who can like who definitely will mix in the Christian and the
Yes.
mysticism
Yeah.
to make it
He's
bigger and just because you can use all
like
these
Seven Swans
stories.
is very Christian.
Well, you
hmm
can use all these stories to tell a bigger story about human beings in general and the experience of feelings. You know what I mean? These can all be like metaphors and allegories for everything. You know what I mean? And like that's like a nice bridge that he provide that you know he provides. And it's not just with Christianity; he uses it with all kinds of mythology and or belief systems get thrown into
yeah.
his work. And it does just to connect to the human experience. So you get Sufjan Stevens was this around like the time of like Illinois or Michigan and those albums.
hmm
Yeah, those are great.
Yeah. Oh, those were my
Great.
jams back
I
in the
love those
day.
albums.
And he does what you described just so well. Just coming
He's the
at
best. He's the best
He
at
his
it.
he also kind of did some
yeah,
electronic stuff with Enjoy Your Rooster album, I think is what it was called.
Well, I mean, he did Age of Ads, which was very
yeah.
focused on synthesizers and stuff.
hmm
And he still continues to
Yeah.
put that into the music today. But anyway, so that's definitely a good artist to get into because you get into that artist and then like, you realize the power of music to like beyond something very tangible. You know what I mean?
hmm
Hmm.
Definitely. Yeah. His music is powerful. Just
Yeah, agree.
yeah.
Couldn't agree
Mm.
more. One of my favorite artists of all time, for sure. Um, were you making music around the time you were listening to him, or were you, like trying to do your own thing at this point, or just still kind of in the
I
progenitor
was making
stages?
music. I think I uploaded to Bandcamp around the first time.
Yeah.
That music is now gone because it's embarrassing to
Oh.
me.
Oh my God, no!
Sorry to
I knew
say.
you.
Do you at least have
I
it on a
listened
hard
to
drive
Stevie
somewhere?
Stevens, and I picked up my guitar as
Yeah.
well, and I was like, nah, no, not sharing this with people. No.
Damn.
Like
I
right, which is
was
like it's such a smart move. And nowadays people they don't as soon as they make something they put online. I'm like, no, we just make a few things first before you put everything out.
Right.
Just take a
yeah.
second. I know it's really easy to get it out there. It's a lot easier than it used to be now. That can work to your disadvantage though.
I think that
Uh-huh.
was one of my
Yeah.
hot takes a while back too. Like winnow it down.
Well, yeah,
hmm
just take some time, like because probably the first few things you make you're not gonna like that much. Like do a little, put it out there, and then like you have to learn patience, basically.
I
So
periodically
okay.
delete old sets all the time.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. So anyhow, you're writing music. We're getting close to like the 2010s at this point. Then,
Yeah.
when did you get back into working with electronics?
Yeah. I mean, again, kind of was always there. Just because I always loved video game music. I was trying to emulate it. I tried to do chiptune
Yeah,
with just GarageBand,
yeah,
and I discovered the world of like VSTs and
Mm.
sound fonts,
yes,
and really enjoyed discovering that people had taken video game MIDI like sounds and turned them into sound fonts.
yeah.
Nice.
So I just kind of like dabbled in that. I mean, I was always just playing around, and that definitely has eclipsed the guitar playing over time, which is
Mhm.
basically what happened to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say the latest like huge musical change in me started in 2018 when I discovered the podcast show This Week in Chiptune.
Okay, go on.
DJ Cutman, he curated
Cutman,
just different.
nice.
Yeah, like after the Mega Man, he curated a bunch of different musicians every week. Again, more like awesome, like community engagement.
Yeah.
But he went beyond chiptune. He branched out into other genres like synthwave,
Okay.
and
Too
that just
cool.
blew my mind.
Oh,
Synthwave,
I was about to ask you if you were a synthwave fan, because there's a lot of crossover.
Yeah. That was the first time. The first time if you hadn't heard synthwave before, then that must have been pretty revelatory.
oh yeah, it was. Because I feel like I had been searching for synthwave and just didn't know it existed until it was given to
Right
me.
under your nose too, like a
Right.
whole swath of artists. You know what I mean? And like that's the coolest thing too, is when there's something you're looking for musically, and like you just don't know where to look for it, and like you like it's got to be there, and then all of a sudden you just come upon it, and then not only do you just come upon the idea that sound you want exists, but it has existed for a while, and there's a lot of people doing it, and you can start digging into it. Sometimes you get into a type of music maybe when it's just starting and there isn't a lot to get into yet, but if you find it after it's established itself, there's like a whole, it's like, whenever you go back and look at like genres from the 80s, you can be like, oh wow, look at all the artists that I can like learn about, and it's pretty cool to discover that with a new genre. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and synthwave also, introduced me to the '80s as well. Like,
Very cool.
I wanted
You kind
to
of
know what
missed
everyone
out
was
on it
referencing.
completely. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing. My house was filled with '80s stuff, just by the leftovers of the '80s, you could say, because we couldn't afford the new stuff. So
Yeah.
So the like nostalgia was already kind of deeply embedded, and like
Interesting.
synthwave just blew it open.
Nice. Did you have any favorite acts or artists from that scene that you discovered?
Yeah, I mean FM84.
Okay.
Oh,
Down.
FM84
Yeah,
is
the
great.
best.
They did the stuff with Ollie Wright, I think, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that album.
Yeah, the Dreamwave
I have
stuff.
it on cassette.
Yeah, Running in the
and
Night
it's-
is a phenomenal track.
Mm-hmm. Definitely some of my favorite music, period, ever made.
Oh yeah. Any other artists that you really liked?
This guy Wave Shaper.
Yeah, I know
Oh,
Wave
yeah.
Shaper. These are all artists
Yeah.
that I played at Terminally Chill, and these were some of the first artists that I found that were like, okay, this can work, like for people to dance to.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wave Shaper, FM84. I gotta pull up my old crates. Damn it.
What I found was that at the beginning of discovering synthwave, I found at least about 3 artists who blew me away, and I really liked them. And then from there, I wasn't super impressed with everyone else.
You were chasing the
Well-
dragon.
You chase the ads, yeah.
Yep, I know that feeling. And so I was just talking to Lux today. We were listening to some old Mitch Murder, and I was like, damn, I miss artists from the early 2010s like Mitch Murder that were just doing it right. No
Oh,
shade
yeah, for
against
sure.
the new guys, but like it was just, I don't know. Maybe it was new to me,
Right.
so it was more exciting, and I'm just chasing the dragon.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Guys,
I
it's
assume
interesting.
it's kind of a case of like these people are the people who innovate, or they're really like creative.
I mean, that's
and
why
then
you heard them first, probably, because they're like,
Yeah.
the best
Right.
ones.
the followers attempt, and maybe they kind of get it, maybe they don't.
Occasionally,
you know
you
what?
still find some good hidden gems.
Here's the best thing, and here's the best thing is when people attempt to do it, but don't quite have the skill yet to copy their heroes. So they try to do it, they can't do it as well, and they end up making something different. And then they
Right.
get better at making that different thing eventually.
Uh-huh.
And that's how like new stuff gets made, basically.
Yeah,
I remember
you're
when,
New
right.
sounds get made that way.
when Roge booked, was it Wave Finder, I believe? It's makeup and vanity set along with Esfero. And as soon as they got on the stage, unfortunately the floor was kind of thinning out, but they started playing, and I went in blind. I'm not great at listening to the recommendations you guys give me. And I went in blind, and I was just like, this is what Comtrues should have been making, but like kind of just stopped making in the mid-2010s and got, sorry, hot take, kind of lazy. And not to compare with them to
It could have been about
Comtrues.
established artists
but, like-
get lazy. That could have been your hot take. You should
Yeah,
save that
established artists get lazy.
one. You should
Even hotter
save that
take.
for another
I've
episode.
heard that he has ghost producers, but that's not. I can't.
What?
I cannot
Like
verify
makes
that.
me sad.
But
No.
but Wavefinder jumped up there and they started playing the song that's unreleased, and I was like, you have to send me this song. It is so fucking good. Like, it's what I wish Comtrues had kept making. But anyways, sorry to derail the conversation.
No, not at all. Not at all.
It's good.
Okay. What happened after you got a little bit disillusioned with some of the synthwave that you're like, oh, I've heard this before and I like this better. What did you do next?
Well, it's just like this chain.
Yeah.
Synthwave led me to freaking lo-fi.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
This is how it works. You know, it's true. This is how this works.
yeah, yeah. And I really enjoyed that. I had the same experience though. There were like 5 artists who I thought were like super unique.
Who did you like?
Yep.
Tampa Beats.
Who?
Tampa Beats.
Wait, are you talking about lo-fi hip hop to chill and study to?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm not as familiar with those artists.
Me neither,
actually.
unfortunately, but I do still want to hear your Rex.
Right.
Like,
Like,
let's hear your ex,
I
because
mean,
I would love to know what you approved of.
yeah.
I mean, if you can't, don't worry about it. But
No, I came prepared. I got a list here.
you go.
He said
All right.
Tampa Beats.
I didn't want to forget anybody. Tampa Beats. Okay, that's the only one I wrote down, I guess. Okay.
Damn.
All right. Well, there we
A
go.
few
F.
others. He's probably the best lo-fi artist, I think. And the thing is, he doesn't sound like what you would hear on the Lo-Fi Girl channel, which is, I think, kind of what defines my experience with lo-fi. Is I heard a bunch of unique artists that all sounded different, but were all still lo-fi. And then over time, I went to the Lo-Fi Girl channel, and that music just all sounded the same. I still enjoy it for what it is, but I loved
someone in
it, and
chat
then I was like,
asked,
oh, okay.
Is it like Tampa? Like, is it spelled like that?
Oh, it's spelled like Tampa.
Okay.
Here. Tampa Beats. That's me.
Oh wow, very cool.
Here,
Thank you
I'll
for
drop his
plugging that.
album.
Yeah, now people know where to
Guys,
go to get
so
it.
good.
I do like a lot of like funk. And like it doesn't always have to have the 808 cowbell. Like some of it is just like real chill fucking like Mac Junt type, like almost vaporwave beats with like some rapping. So like a little of that kind of overlaps a little with lo-fi or like lo-fi hip hop.
Yeah.
What'd you get into after that?
Well, after that, I got into vaporwave.
Very cool.
All right. Here we go.
There was some
we're here
overlap.
now we're here. We're like 2019, I suppose. Are we pre-quarantine?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
We're
There was
pre-quarantine.
yeah, it was 2019 there was some really interesting overlap. I think the analog aspect and like the distressed sound
The distressed
kind of
sound.
Right.
Yeah.
led
Yeah,
me
because
on
the
this
lo-fi
trail
hip hop,
to
you get
vaporwave.
really into like the texture, like this. You said sound font earlier, just like the feel of the effects. And
Lo-fi
stuff, I
hip hop
guess.
seems to be about like tweaking to get the correct beat that you want. You know what I mean? And that's like a lot of what it is. It's just getting that one beat and then maybe making it slightly like maybe a little swing here, a swing there. Like that seems to be like the big art for that. So you get into vaporwave. What artists were you listening to? Because you're still here, so
Well,
you just like it.
the guys who really captured my attention were US Golf 95.
Okay.
Oh,
Another very
Wow.
like
Yeah.
conceptual artist.
Their stuff really stood out to me.
It's kind of a deep
There's
cut
another
too.
art-
US Golf, isn't that
Yeah, instead of being like Lisa Frank 420 or Frank Jav sees how to make vaporwave, this fool got
So were you
found
listening
US
to
Golf 95.
Were you listening to My Pet Flamingo records?
I definitely listened to them too.
No, just their record label.
They were there.
I think they've because I think they've released some US Golf 95, right? And maybe
Yeah, I think so.
yeah. Oh, I don't know. It's okay if you don't. I just was wondering if
I think
you
Pacific
got into,
Plaza
like, the
released one
band
too.
and then you looked at the labels to see the other artists. I'm just trying to see like what your what your pathway into vaporwave. After you found some like, how did you? So what was that the first artist you heard?
I don't even know what the first artist I heard. I mean, it was probably like Macintosh Plus.
Of course.
But it was
But how
just.
did you figure out about there being more? Did you start joining communities? Were you looking on message boards? Were you just going to a band camp and seeing what was released on it?
It was just Spotify playlists.
Of
just being
course,
suggested to
Spotify
me.
playlists were. I don't even know if the vaporwave one existed yet. Oh, I think it maybe just existed.
It
That's
probably
interesting. So it was the
did.
recommend. Oh, so you got onto it, and then there was recommendations, and then the similar artists and such.
Yeah, I don't
Okay,
know
got it.
really how I stumbled into it, but yeah, the Spotify recommended me playlists, and then I just listened to them and was like, well, what is this stuff? This is good.
Any other favorite artists besides US Golf 95 that like really stayed with you?
Yeah, particularly when you first started getting.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. There's an album called Trucks Pass. There's an artist called
Oh
Trucks
yeah, Trucks
Passing
Passing
Trucks.
That
Trucks. We've had him
specific
on our show.
plaza, that specific plaza records guy. That's Alex. That's
Is it
his
the Wave
artist.
Race one?
Yes.
Wave Race
I
64,
found out
nice.
because I was like, there must be a Nintendo 64 Vaporwave somewhere, and then
Oh,
that one popped up.
so
Hell
that's
yeah.
actually that's actually Alex
You
who
like
runs Big
conceptual
Plaza Records.
vaporwave albums.
Yeah,
That
I
They
makes
guess
sense.
I
coalesce
guess
around a
so.
specific experience.
That makes sense. So that's Alex. He does Pacific Plaza Records. Good friend of the show. Okay, so
Yeah.
then when did you decide you want to start participating?
2020.
Okay.
I don't think it had the pandemic wasn't even in my mind, but it must have been subconscious. I just thought that there should be Sonic Vaporwave. Nobody was making it. Um, that's just how it literally started. I just was like, Sonic is perfect for Vaporwave. Why is nobody sampling his sounds? So I just tried it. I just
Did you ever listen
wanted
to
to do it.
3D Blast?
Yeah, I think so.
He's got a little bit of Sonic sampling. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Right. There was some Sonic Vaporwave
Not
stuff.
quite as heavily though, but yeah, but it's definitely he referenced
Right.
a lot. So you decide this needed to exist, and you were like, I got to figure out how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's essentially what I did. I started with a track. I did my best to chop it up. It was a Sonic CD track because they have two vocal tracks on that album. Both by a Japanese J-pop singer singing in English. And I was just like, this should be Vaporwave. So
Yes.
I tried it and
Hell yeah.
I put it up on YouTube and nobody listened to it. And then I just decided to keep going
Damn.
just for my own curiosity, for my own satisfaction.
Yeah.
Good.
Uh-huh. Yeah. That's really what this has all been about. Just I want these things to exist, so I'm just
Yeah, I
making
guess.
Thank
them
God for
exist.
you.
Well, then when did you start
Wow.
approaching it differently? When did you start getting, when did you start referencing back to, obviously you were thinking about your previous nostalgia with Sonic. When did you start getting into other nostalgia experiences that you thought maybe you could do something, you could take an interesting approach to? When do we get into Dreamcastle?
You know, after my first album, I think it was kind of just standing back and seeing what happened.
Okay.
Because I went into it with no plan but to just take Sonic songs I liked and vaporwaveize them.
Yeah.
But like
Very cool.
a narrative kind of popped up from the album. Well, it seemed to have like a natural progression, and it was very much about me and like how I was feeling at the time.
Huh. Were you even aware of
And
that happening, or did it just kind of naturally unfold that way?
it just naturally unfolded that way,
Okay.
with the last
like
few
that.
tracks feeling like reflective and like, why do I love this stuff? What about it makes me love it?
Interesting.
And so I guess that really just like determined the trajectory of what I was doing while I was making music. I was asking myself, why do I love these old things? What about them has influenced me, and like fully knowing that it's not just like, oh, I like this stuff. There's like a sadness, a sense of loss. I'm
Yeah.
grieving.
Yeah.
I'm grieving
Yeah.
as I
Grief,
make it.
regret, the inability to return to a simpler, happier,
Right. That's why
version of yourself.
Mhm.
That's my favorite
Yeah.
thing about your work, man, is like no shade on anyone. It's all good, it's all valid. But you're making things that are like your actual nostalgic experiences. They're intensely personal, and I think it's evident in the
Oh, yeah.
not just the quality of your work, but like how unique it is and how you've just I don't know, I'm not good at words. You just tapped into something. I think it's like a shared, feeling.
You
It's
know,
earnest.
you mentioned the sadness and nostalgia. Like we all know where like the word nostalgia comes from, right?
Tell us.
Oh, do you know? Okay, so it comes
Yeah,
from
I'm sorry.
Comes from two Greek words, nostos and algos. And nostos is to go home, and algos is pain. It's the pain of not being able to return home.
What?
Did
I
you not
didn't
know this?
know that. No. That's
That's what
amazing.
nostalgia
You heard it
comes
on
from.
Hot Takes.
So like it's just like that's exactly what other kids describe nostalgia.
I love that.
So yeah, it's just funny that you mentioned you didn't even. I was like, did you know that's where that comes from? Or
Wow,
was that like a
that's
direct? Right? I thought you were directly
really
referencing the origin of
profound.
the word nostalgia.
Oh
You said,
no,
but that's true.
I'm not that
No,
eloquent.
I was talking to Dreamcastle because Dreamcastle had said
Oh,
that he
well,
was
he
doing
probably
this, and
is.
it's like he's having a pain in the idea that he can't go. He literally said the pain of not being able, and then you said he had feeling pain, and then you said not being able to return back to that simpler time. And I'm like, well, that's exactly what nostalgia means. And I don't know if people realize that, but that's exactly where the
Yeah.
word comes from. So like nostalgia
It's
is
a
a
very
painful.
it's a very
People,
bittersweet feeling.
yeah,
Right. Yeah. And to a degree, a lot of my favorite vaporwave albums make me feel this like odd sense of both like grief and like irony.
Like yearning.
Like
yeah,
like I could both laugh at them and cry. Like, it's
yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
definitely
I feel
something
that.
that's made me love it so much.
Wistful. Good word choice, Neon
Yeah.
Pines. Well, I don't mean to take a hard turn, but we have reached the top of the hour. It's
We got to keep
guest
asking.
question time.
That's great, but we can't do that completely just yet because we got to get a little bit more into Dreamcastle.
All right.
and
Well,
just
y'all fill that chat up with questions after.
Yeah,
so we
but
have
we
them
got to
ready
get a
after
little
this.
bit into the idea. We got to get a little bit deeper into Dreamcastle. I'm so sorry, but okay. So did that when you started creating a more defined, I guess, like trajectory for the album and for future albums and what you were going to do with it? Like, when did you start to decide to be like, okay, when did you get into Legos? Let's just get to that first. Like, when did you start incorporating the Legos?
Yeah, I'd like to know this as well.
Second album, again, I just thought there should be Lego Vaporwave.
Okay.
It was barely
And
a
there should be.
thing.
You're right about that. 100%.
100%.
It made for some reason it just made so much sense to me. So I just started going through and I came up with this format of naming the track after the set.
After a set. Yep.
And the set number.
Yep.
And then I started doing that. Picked sets that I liked or wish I had, mostly, and then just deep dove into the archives of Lego commercials and that are on YouTube, and just chopped the shit out of it.
Yes.
Like, it was really satisfying, and I just kept going as it connected to me. Like, it was what I wanted to see.
When did you start creating the overarching narrative with it? You know, obviously there's themes and there's a whole world that you're creating and a central character at that.
Yeah,
Majisto.
I mean, I chose Majisto just because I liked him. He was my favorite Lego character. I think he represents Lego incredibly well, being a wizard, and I just I don't know. This whole story just kind of came together in my head about probably me like trying to get back to the moments that I remembered, but not being able to, and I don't know, I just wrote it out, I guess. It's hard to describe why I did it.
I mean,
it
it
just
seems
happened.
that it's building in intensity. I wouldn't say you wrote it out.
It was like just a projection of myself, how I was feeling. Like not being able to buy the Lego sets I wanted as a kid, or my parents not being able to afford them, had such a profound impact on me that I guess that just always comes up or always leaks out when I dive into Legos of the past.
Damn, we have such a similar childhood. This is getting kind of uncanny.
Yeah, going over someone else's house and like seeing some huge Lego set and be like,
oh yeah, I remember seeing the biggest space police the first Space Police theme, the black, blue, and red one with the translucent red, the biggest Space Police spaceship at somebody's house, and I was still too little. I was like 5. Just being like, holy shit, this is cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had a rich friend. He had like all the Legos.
Damn.
It was sad.
What other questions do you want to ask him, Chris?
No, it's fine. We can start asking other people. Just want to get to the.
We've got a big backlog. I just don't want to.
We can do. I'm
cut
sure
you off.
we'll let the people talk. If I come up, I'll let other people talk.
The people
right
voted.
Now, but
let's let the people talk.
the people
Good
voted,
man.
so I'm sure they're gonna probably ask similar questions that I would.
We had
so
a fantastic
like,
opening.
If they don't, I'll
salvo.
ask it.
First
I'll ask
question.
it.
Puff and Bill Grooves. First memory of stepping on a Lego.
First memory of stepping on a Lego, when I made a huge mess and didn't clean it up like my mom told me to, and suffered the consequences.
Yep. Been there for sure. Did you ever have siblings break your Lego sets?
I was the one breaking the Lego sets because I was the youngest.
Oh my God, Chris, did you ever do that with yours? You have a brother, I believe, right? Did you guys ever break each other's Lego sets?
I didn't play with Legos.
Oh, you didn't play with Lego. Oh, that's right. You were into the comics instead, right?
I read comic books.
Yeah. Maybe there will be a comic vaporwave artist.
That doesn't exist yet? That seems crazy.
Isn't that amazing? There should be like a comic book vaporwave
Well,
artist.
there should be like an old 90s style comic book vaporwave artist, probably.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe it doesn't translate well. I'm not sure. Everything translated. What am I talking about? Anyway, go ahead. I'm not
Rose
gonna,
Corp
I'm not
with
gonna do
another
that, though.
great
Well,
banger.
someone else needs to do it.
Rose Corp likes to ask this question a lot because it's a good one. Any new or up-and-comer vaporwave artists that you've been he said that you've been hecking with.
That I've been
that you've been hecking with. Like
Heckin'
anyone that you've been fucking with or like into.
Hecking with.
Yeah.
Is that what we say now? I like that.
I mean,
Me too.
I don't know if they're up and coming, but Robostum, if you guys heard of him.
Like Boston, the city?
Robustum.
Robust.
I'll grab the link.
No. Yeah, please throw that in there.
This was going to be my recommendation for who should be on.
Touchstones knows about him. Okay. A
who should
PBS
be
album?
on, yeah.
You would.
So I look up to them a ton because they made so many great concept albums, specifically related to like defunct television or just
nice.
I
That
love
old
sounds
that.
like something
television.
Lux needs to check out.
PBS. It's like all samples of probably the strangest moments from like public television, which not having cable growing up, only having
Also didn't have cable growing up.
it speaks to me so much because like that's what I was stuck with. I had to watch Arthur. Didn't care for it, but I watched it anyway.
He didn't
It's what
care
you
for
get,
it.
what you got.
That's
what you
funny.
had.
Have you heard the Broderbund themed album?
Oh no, that sounds
there's-
amazing.
Yeah, and there's albums based around like VBS, like Vacation Bible School.
Oh yes. I
Yeah.
think I know what you're talking about.
Not sure if they're any
that
good or
artist.
not, but I feel like you would kind of like resonate with those two projects. I'm gonna need to find them.
Yeah, very specific nostalgia. The thing that has really like come back to haunt me in a good way about growing up religious is that I was forced to watch like very low budget shitty stuff.
Oh yeah,
that
like
was
the
just-
puppet stuff.
Mhm,
yeah.
could be really weird. And now
Oh,
looking
yeah.
back,
Yep.
like
I
it's
remember
We get
fascinating
watching-
to
stuff all
me.
the time on everything.
We
is
would watch
terrible.
like Superbook and like Gospel Bill and the Donut Man, and then when VeggieTales came
Uh-huh.
out, it was like, oh okay, the Christians got a budget.
I'm familiar
Yeah.
with these things you guys are talking about only because of the everything is terrible and it like puts
Yeah,
up the clips.
dude, everything is terrible.
Mhm.
Have you seen Everything is Terrible, Dreamcastle?
I think I have. I can't remember.
It's incredibly validating
top of
because
my
you'll
head.
see like Salty the Songbook and be like, I remember that motherfucker.
That motherfucker. I thought
I
was
remember
good
that.
at
I went to Lux and I went and saw Everything's Terrible live, and it was just like it was a type of nostalgia, for
Mhm.
better or for worse, you know.
Right,
Yeah, they're like they
right.
collect the old VHS tapes of forgotten media and then repurpose it in humorous
Mhm.
ways.
Right. The fascination.
Gerbert,
With, like,
they love
the
Gerbert.
Horrifying. Gerbert.
Yeah, the
Oh,
orange
God,
guy.
Gerber. That seems like a nightmare. I can't even. I've only ever watched this stuff through that website.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
The great, yeah.
Oh man.
Oh man.
This
Well, I feel like
hits-
we need to get together and have a drink. There's so much like shit. Be like,
Yeah, you guys would have a fun time talking about your
yeah,
media.
we would.
Oh man. It's this very specific feeling that nothing can replicate.
It's like
just-
you
it
don't
hits
miss it, but you're like, it made me who I am.
It's like watching a train wreck. That's pretty much a feeling. You can't look away.
Yeah. And then everybody, when they see it, they're like, this sucks. And you're just like, yeah, but that's my nuts. Like, come on. Hushtones Vapor, great question. Where does the name Dreamcastle come from?
Yeah. I want to ask.
You know what? I don't even know. I was just like, I want a dream castle. But
name.
I will say, I like dreams. I like castles.
It's a good name. It's it's a perfect name.
Yeah, but I realized that it was a really good name because one of my friends was like, it looks like Dreamcast with a O on the end.
Oh yeah,
Am I stupid? I never made that connection.
I didn't even think about that. But that's even that just adding a whole new layer to how cool that name is.
Yeah.
Right. And then
Shit, how did I miss that?
Oh wow.
How did I miss that? So now my logo is just the Dreamcast font with.
I love
that's
that.
Unreal.
Oh, that's so good. That's so smart.
That's really clever, buddy.
Thanks.
And of all the
Charles,
systems, the Dreamcast too, like the most failed one.
Yeah.
Like the most vaporwave
it was actually
one.
surprisingly ahead of its time. Yeah, very vaporwave.
It was. It's just like it was like it was an unfortunate. It was unfortunate that it failed. That's like why it's so interesting to have it be that. And then, that's a great name for it. Great reference.
Yeah, the
Dreamcast. Stumbled upon it. Works out perfectly.
I think that answers one of the questions that was submitted also by Hushtones Vapor, asking if there is a real Dreamcastle.
Is there a real Dreamcastle? I mean,
do you have one in mind?
I think there is.
Can I ask? Sorry.
The Dreamcastle is a place or an idea that we can all access. I think of it. I mean,
a shared sanctum.
I'm pulling this out of my ass, but I like to think of it as like when you listen to the music, you enter a space where you can experience your past, like in a meaningful way, or you can grieve in a meaningful way your past, because it contains all your memories.
Yeah, interesting.
Right, a memory palace. There isn't a physical Dreamcastle besides the one you see on camera, but I mean, maybe there is.
Did the medieval music your dad was listening to have any influence on what you do now?
Definitely.
Okay, because I kind of wanted to get to that as well, because obviously there's some different sound textures going on here, some dungeon synthy things. When did you start trying to incorporate that into the music?
Well, I did in fact directly incorporate it in. One of the last tracks on Lego Castle is a cover of a real French folk tune.
Okay.
I can't pronounce it. It's French. But it was something my dad listened to, actually. And I've always loved it since. So it's actually from a French movie called Deux les Matins du Monde. I don't know. I can't pronounce it. All the Mornings of the World.
Oh, wow.
Where the entire soundtrack was done in the style of like Baroque music. I should know this guy's name, Jean-Baptiste Lully.
I'm not great at pronouncing French either, buddy. It's cool. Lux linked it, I think.
Oh, thank you.
Nice work, Lux. She's the link queen.
Yes, that's it. I just butchered it, probably.
I love it.
Yeah, the person who composed that soundtrack, Jordi Savall, legendary guy, well known in the early music scene. So yes, in short, that did have an effect on me.
Is it this Marche pour la cérémonie des Turcs? Is that the song?
No, it was. Hang on.
She found a song and wants to know if that's the one. It's in chat.
It
I probably
was-
botched it all to hell.
That's a good song, but that
Yeah.
wasn't.
I gotta learn more about Jordi Seville. This is a fascinating person.
Jordi Seville.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love medieval music overall, just because of how like it evokes this old world that's so
Right.
familiar yet so far away.
Oh,
Much
do you think
in the
about
same
that
way
too when
that-
you talk about when you talk about Legos in childhood, an old world that's very far away?
Yes, yes.
Right.
Kind of
Very
ties into the
similar.
idea of medieval, right? That's literally an old world that's very far away, and your childhood is an emotional world that's to you very far away. Almost might as well be as far away as medieval times.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's hard to hear, but
Um,
absolutely true.
It's true. We're all speeding towards death.
Damn.
Okay.
You heard it on
But
hot takes.
that's skeleton lipstick. That's skeleton lipstick stuff. Back to you.
Yeah.
We
there,
got.
I got it.
Oh hell
It
yeah!
was called
Thank you.
Jean Fiat.
We got two phenomenal questions by Celadon
Let's
Dream
go.
Suite.
Let's go.
I'm gonna
Bring those
ask them
questions out.
separately. Celadon Dream Suite, who attended your live show by the way, and had a lot of good things to say
good.
about it.
I'd love to hear what they have to say.
Yep. Can you talk about the decision to include an original vocal track on Skyworld, and what the process of writing that song was like?
Okay.
Yeah. First off, I need to give a huge shout out to Celadon Dream Suite because they're such an awesome person and human.
Oh yeah, they're delightful.
And
Absolutely.
he's supported my work and is just a great friend. So, hearts coming your way.
Love having them in the server.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. So the album on the vocal track on Skyworld was totally a last minute addition. It was just something I was doing with my friends. We done this thing where we've challenged each other to write a song a day for a week.
Nice.
Just like we would come up with prompts, like questions, and we would each write a song. Usually there'd be about 3 of us. And then we'd play them for each other at the end of the night. And the prompt, it was so good because it became the beginning of a lot of, it started some songs that I would later turn into full songs.
Gotcha.
But the prompt for this one that birthed whatever it was called, Floating in the Vibrance, that's it. It was called, I think the prompt was Treasure.
Okay, you had to
Buried
make a song
Treasure.
about treasure.
Treasure.
Okay.
So I was listening to Alphaville, Forever Young, and
Oh, okay. Great
I
song.
just, yeah, and I
Beautiful.
just watched Castle in the Sky.
Love
So
it.
those kind of just off the cuff. I just wrote the song, and it kind of merged into a song about somebody looking for like the lost island floating in the sky. Recorded it with my crappy mic. Yeah, and then finished it. And then I liked it a lot, and then I was too lazy to refine it, so I ended up just adding it to the album. Though I did later go back just this year and finish the song. I meant to add like an outro, and I never did. Oh, I finally did that this year.
Nice.
Since so many people connected with it, which was unexpected to me. It was just
Don't you love that?
off.
You never know
Like a
what's
happy
gonna
little
stick.
accident.
You
I
never know.
just do this for fun,
That's why you should do it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
and I don't know why anybody likes it, but they do, I guess.
Well, you should keep it up for sure.
What's the next question?
Celadon Plaza. I just said that because I'm listening to a track by them. Celadon Dream Suite. Sorry. Adding another question. Can you talk about the process of making a point-and-click adventure? And how was it to see people that actually played through and solved it?
Okay, I'm so glad because that was one of the questions I really wanted to get to that. I'm glad that.
Yep, and I want to talk about the Lego Castle video after that. But first,
Yes, that's great.
answer
Let's do this one
Celadon
first.
Dream Suite's question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, before I answer this question, hi Andy, friend from Song a Day is in the chat.
Very cool.
My phone keeps
Welcome,
falling.
Andy. You should just take it. You should just take it with you when you walk away, so we can see your
Oh.
No,
house.
the thing is that like I have to charge it, so I was running out of a lot of batteries. It's pre-charged now though, so I had to like do that crazy angle. All right, anyway.
Yeah.
So the
For some
point and click
reason-
adventure.
Yeah, point and click adventure.
Yeah, answering why is somehow strangely hard. I don't know why I did it, but just besides this perverse desire to see
There were a lot of point
people.
and click games back in the
There
90s
were.
too. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That's what I thought of. Like I played a lot of those kinds of games, like
Like
in,
the Curse
school
of Monkey
and stuff.
Island,
Yes.
Myst,
Yeah.
So like
I did
beat-
too.
all the
I
humongous
totally played a
entertainment
bunch
games.
of them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I loved those. They had this odd, weird. They gave you these weird feelings because of how isolated you could feel in them. Like you're just creeped out by the fact that you're alone wherever you are, like looking for stuff, finding secrets. I just love that. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to make it. Like I figured out how to sort of do it with this program called Adobe Muse,
Okay.
which is an old like website builder. Its support got dropped like a while ago, but I happen to know how to use it because I used it at my job at one point,
Nice.
and I figured out that I could kind of fudge a point and click game with it. So I just was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make people look in my castle and feel creeped out and find a secret. And
I love it.
Yeah, I did it.
Hell yeah.
The Adobe Muse program is really broken. It crashes a lot and it's got so many
So
limitations.
it's like Lego
I was
Creator.
really, yep. I was really bound by a lot of its limitations and had to figure out how to get around to them. But that really feels like part of the fun of vaporwave. Some of the constraints of the medium, and really of any medium. So, I think
Absolutely.
I'm glad that people
they
figured
become
it
the
out.
hallmark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't believe no one had made a point and click game before. It's such a smart idea to do that.
Right.
I guess they didn't know how to do it. That was the thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Takes a lot of skill.
Apparently, very like esoteric skill too, considering you have to use that program.
He's got arcane knowledge.
Arcane knowledge. Yeah, that's very
That-
vaporwave. Having
that is
arcane
it.
knowledge of something that's completely obsolete.
That's what a wizard would have.
That's what a wizard would have. Yeah,
That's why I'm a wizard.
it
Right.
makes perfect sense now.
Please tell us about the concept of rendering, and I don't want to like bury the lead or like steal your thunder, but when you made the Lego Castle video,
I want to ask this question.
can you tell us about how you made it, what went into it, just what you did?
Yeah. So I had really wanted to just do more Lego Vaporwave. And so I challenged myself to make a non-sampled album using only like synths and sound fonts and royalty-free sound effects.
Nice.
And I just picked Lego Castle because I love it, and I haven't really done much with that yet, that theme. Just this deep desire to jump into the box art that I've always had. I just wanted to fulfill that.
And you made like your own version of the box art, right? Just kind of like not riffing on, but like continuing to make art in that pastiche of the minifigs and the characters.
Yeah.
I found myself like double like checking and being like, did this come from an actual manual or box? Nope.
Crazy.
Yeah, I can't remember if I planned on doing Blender from the beginning, but eventually I settled on using Blender because it's just been a goal of mine to learn 3D for a long time. Huge daunting goal. But I started teaching myself Blender so I could make these 3D Lego scenes. And my curiosity, which can be really insatiable, I just had to know more about like why the Lego boxes look the way they look. I kind of dove down the rabbit hole. I got some clues from a recent Lego book called Lego Space, where they showed
This
kind of a
is
behind the scenes.
That's crazy. I just
Oh,
want to pause for a second. Do you realize that you just went from like I'm kind of interested in vaporwave, and maybe I'll make a Sonic. I'll chop up some Sonic songs to like I am now learning the box
Yeah.
art. I create a point and click game. Like this is
I'm
like
researching
this
why
like
they
all of a
chose.
sudden delved into this tremendous multimedia project. So I'm learning Blender. I'm pulling up Adobe old systems that are no longer used to create. This is like this is crazy. That's just so cool.
Oh, I want that
yeah,
book.
thanks.
Oh, what's the book?
Yeah,
Yeah, what's the book you're?
uh,
I interrupt. Go ahead. Talk to the
yeah.
book.
Lego Space
Oh, I want that
1978
book
to
so bad.
1992.
Wow.
It's really good.
Wow.
It's full of archival footage of the Lego
Fuck, I
boxes
want
and
that
stuff.
so bad.
Yeah,
Lux
it
actually
was
got me a Lego
amazing.
book today, and I want that as
Oh.
well.
Oh, yeah.
What's the book you got?
Sorry to
Nice.
derail. We're not trying to talk about that, but Lux bought me this for my upcoming birthday, so
Very
I'm excited to
cool.
check this out.
Yay.
But yeah.
Cool. You got this book. This gave you some clues as to how to make those boxes.
Yeah, just like they basically used like a weird little like tarp to make the ground, and
Ooh,
like
this is
the
the content I
sky
crave.
was a physical set with lights, and just like all kinds of other like, and I just had to figure out how to do the same thing in Blender. So I mimicked a film camera. I tried to match the lighting. I made like a sun that was just a big lamp. And I actually took the box art, the highest resolution scans I could find on the web, and cut out everything but the background using Adobe's generative fill, which I don't think I could have done it without that. It's like the smartest smart fill possible. And then I just kind of painstakingly mimicked a VHS look using some plugins I found on the web and low depth of field. And there's a ton of other things about film that make it look like film, like jitter, like the film actually jumps around when it's
Yeah, I shoot with
going
35
through the
millimeter film.
sprocket.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I tried to get as much as that in. Halation,
Nice.
Yeah, around the lights.
yeah,
I
they
shoot.
like,
I shoot 35 millimeter film, so I know exactly all the things you're talking about that make film. Even the color of
yeah,
film is different. Even with film in general, like colors are very different on 35 millimeter film because it's like light passing through a cell. When you take pictures with digital, it's capturing all the information. But when you take pictures with film, light passes through it, so certain colors get weighted more, and that's why film has more of an atmosphere to it than like a digital picture, because that's just where the chemicals are going to go. You know what I mean? Where there's more light, or where there's a majority of red light. If red's a bigger color, there's just going to bond to that more. So it's very different. Yeah, there's a lot you have to do to try and mimic film.
right.
And
And
if
it
you,
has
Wow.
such a
yeah, I
distinguishable
love film.
quality. Yeah, I'm definitely in love with that. And it, again, powerful nostalgic connection to it.
Can you talk a
I
little
love
bit
that you got
about?
the jitter. That you're like, okay, well, the shutter speeds, like, the shutter speed is a big deal with film. I mean, when you're using digital, shutter speed is just another way for you to increase or decrease light. But with film, it means like, okay, I can't shake the camera if I'm shooting over like 125th of a second. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And you're gonna have to shoot over that if you're doing like a picture of box art. Like you're gonna use a long exposure, so that means like you might have like a 2-second exposure, so the film might shake a little bit. You know what I mean? Even if you're just
Yeah.
doing external shutter. So it's cool that you thought to include that. And speaking as someone who shoots with 35 millimeter film, I can appreciate that detail
Yeah,
that you're
I love
adding.
film.
Yeah, me too.
You
Another
told
really
me.
weird. Oh, go ahead.
No, I feel bad for interrupting, but you told me something incredibly cool in DMs about the actual construction of each individual set. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I don't remember.
You told.
Nice.
Oh, I don't want to put words in your mouth, and my memory is notoriously bad. But you told me, as I recall, that you used a specific software to manually create all of those vintage sets in that software.
Oh yes. So I had a
Wow.
pipeline.
wow.
You
and
built
I used...
all the sets in this program.
Wait, what? Go on. Okay, keep talking. This is crazy.
So I didn't build all the sets. I found most of the classic Lego sets already built
Okay.
on an archive. They specifically open in a program called Lego Studio, where you can build digitally in a Lego space. But my pipeline was that I had to import them into Lego Studio and then export them as a file that Blender could read, and then put it into the world. And I had to make adjustments to the sets because I wanted them to match the box art as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Although Majisto's Lair, well, I did build that all myself.
Yeah. So
Wow.
when you're in the costume, you rendered that background yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you want
to?
Do you want to talk about the costume?
Yeah. So I really wanted to be a Lego wizard. I just I found these 3D printed Lego helmet in hands online. So using the Reddit, I don't have a 3D printer, but the Reddit community 3D print my thing is so useful because people will 3D print your things for you for a cost.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Yeah, that is really amazing.
I had
that
a couple people help me. Yeah, I didn't know it existed either until I had to figure it out.
Until I had to figure out how to be a Lego wizard.
Yeah, they printed these things for me, and it was so amazing when they came in.
How much work did you have to do with the artists to help render it properly or to get the correct dimensions? Like, what was the process like working with the 3D printing people?
It was really easy.
It's amazing.
I mean, the files came already ready to print.
Oh, that's cool.
And they were free. The hands weren't free, but they were really cheap. And
so you found the files online, and then you're like, okay, and you gave these people. This is great. Okay, cool. Where did you find the file?
Yeah, I found them in a bunch of different places. I can't remember exactly where, but if I can find the link, I will definitely post it. So all of you can be a Lego too.
Thank you. That's very kind of you. Everyone could come to your show dressed as other Lego characters.
They're the construction of them are brilliant. They're just the coolest thing I've ever seen. Yeah, here it is. Here it is.
Oh, you found it? No way. That's resourceful. And
wouldn't that be fun? People came to your shows and they had like 3D printed their own costumes to come to the audience as.
That would be amazing. I would love all of you for doing that.
You also, correct me if I'm wrong, so like constructed your entire clothing outfit and the beard.
Yeah. I thought, kind of just looked at Majisto and tried to sort of figure out how I could
get the little pouch and the belt.
Yeah.
Yeah, the front of him was just a flat piece of poster board that I cut into the shape of a Lego torso.
Nice.
And then I painted or cut out the prints. Then the beard was like a big like plushy thing that I sewed together and stuffed.
Unreal.
Yeah. I got a crap ton of blue felt and made the hat from a pattern that I found online and stuck some glow-in-the-dark stars to it.
Awesome.
And my wife helped me figure out the sewing because that's her thing.
Shout out Dream Wife.
Shout out Dream Wife.
And she also did the narration on the last track of Lego Castle.
Nice.
That was her voice. Yep. She thinks I'm weird,
awesome.
But also loves me. So.
Oh, this is so cool. I love this. This is great.
Yeah.
This is crazy. This is so cool.
It's so cool. That's why we had to have this guy on. Like,
it's so cool.
The commitment to recreating.
So it just got more and more committed, and it just came more and more things to do to make it a bigger project. It's become so much like, well, now I have to have this aspect to it, and then you do it, and each aspect requires you to procure a new skill, as if you're on your own quest, as it were.
Exactly.
Well
Just
said.
leveling up.
Hey, I see things. I don't know. Like I can tell. Like I see the big themes here.
We got a couple goodies
In
in
life
chat.
in general.
I'm going to jump ahead. Celadon, I'll get back to your question, but I feel like this Brick Mason question is really relevant. What made you plan the
Oh my God!
in-person...
Your big quests are all to get back home.
What?
All these big quests are for you to get back home to the world. You know, the inside the Lego world.
You're right.
Nostalgia. You're return home.
Exactly.
That's fascinating stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right, continue.
Brick Mason wants to know what made you plan the in-person launch event.
Yeah.
I mean, from you guys, I heard actual vaporwave fans were getting together, but they're all just like so far away from me.
Yeah.
And I was really bummed. And then I was just like, I should just do it myself. I should just have an event.
That's amazing.
Another skill you have to do. Wow.
Yeah. Didn't get discouraged, just did it. You heard that from us.
That's the big. That's what I like a lot about just you in general too. Is just like you don't get discouraged. You're like, well, I'm gonna figure it out. I want to do this, and I'm gonna do it, and all for like fun. You know what I mean? All for fun.
Mm-hmm.
I love that too. I try and everything I do is mostly for fun. I like that.
Yeah.
Oh, Brick Mason said Celadon and them drove hours for it. That's so cool. I didn't know you were there too, Brick Mason. My bad.
That's so cool. I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know Brick Mason. Shout out Brick Mason and Celadon.
I was so happy to see them there, and just
that's badass.
Everyone else who drove. I was like, "Are you crazy? You're coming out to see this Lego guy do a silly thing? Like,
do a silly
I probably
thing.
would. I fucking love
totally
it so
awesome.
much.
I think
would.
driving out for silly things is the most important thing. Going to be present for silly things is the most important thing in the world, to me at least.
Yeah, that's kind of what we do, isn't it?
I love silly things. Dark as I am, I love silly.
Yeah, you're right.
Celadon just banging out the best questions. I'll get back to your one from before this, but speaking of the last track, does Hazelwood Spindlewort have acting training, or was the narration improvised by her?
No, she doesn't. We just chatted together about the script that I wrote, and I gave it to her, and she nailed it. She felt it, which is definitely one of her skills, really feeling.
That's beautiful. Yeah, they said it seemed super authentic.
Yeah.
Another question from Celadon. Aside from Lego Castle, what album of yours do you want people to listen to the most, or is the most dear to you?
Enter the Dreamcastle is probably the most dear to me. It's definitely kind of like the moment when kind of my entire artist concept sort of came together as like a solid idea.
Very cool.
It's probably the best introductory album to the whole Dreamcastle project, because it's literally about you, the listener, entering the Dreamcastle and discovering its rooms and discovering something about yourself.
Oh, that's exciting. Brick Mason wants to know if there's any plans for more in-person events.
There's never any plans for anything. I have no idea what's coming next.
Great answer.
It's like there's never a plan for anything, and then once the thing comes, then you have to create a plan.
Exactly.
Electronicon 5.
It was really stressful, I will say. I don't see myself doing another in-person event.
Oh, wow.
I was just like, why am I doing this to myself? For 9 months. I was just like, I have to do this, but it's killing me.
I have a job and a
life.
life.
Up at night.
I have another thing that I do. It's like
I couldn't sleep.
I didn't do it.
Yeah, all the anxiety that I described in the last track, I was feeling that throughout the year. Even though I wanted to do it, okay. So yeah, that's that.
Neon Pines Mall wants to know what's next.
What's next? Indeed. I am working on a new project already. even though I didn't know if I
Nice.
would. It's gonna be an ARG.
Okay.
I just think the idea of telling a story in a non-linear way and leaving it for people to kind of find the story out themselves is fascinating to me. I kind of want to like set people on a hunt to discover this story, this
Oh,
album.
that's so awesome. Are you gonna need like an Oculus to play it or anything like that?
I mean, that would be cool. I can't do that. At least not yet.
Fair.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still really piecing it together. But it's just an idea that's been burning away in my head. And again, I just want to make it real. And we'll see.
I love that.
But honestly, like before being a musician, I'm really just a storyteller. And I'm just using different mediums to tell stories. And that's kind of what ties it all together.
That actually ties really well into another banger question by Sell It on Dream Suite. What is your real life job? You don't have to say specifically, just like what kind of work.
I'm a graphic designer. I work for a record label. Not one that anyone has really heard of. But yeah, I feel really lucky, honestly. It's a cool job.
It sounds like a pretty awesome gig. I'm sure there's drawbacks, but
yeah.
Yeah, and I've thankfully been able to learn a lot of the skills that I use on my Dreamcastle projects on the job. So that's a huge benefit.
Yeah, I can imagine. Brick Mason wants to know if you would do a VHS release on a label for this new project.
Maybe. I mean, possibly. It really depends on if I can find a label or if a label finds me. Yeah.
Well,
I'm open.
I know you got a physical for Lego Castle, right?
Yeah. I had a physical because again, I just really wanted there to be a physical. I wanted it to be a thing. It turned out to be a lot more work than I thought it was going to be. And then I lost a ton of money because I forgot to charge everyone shipping.
Oh, no. I'm sorry, buddy.
But it's totally fine. It basically just paid for itself.
That's good.
Which is totally okay with me.
You didn't turn a profit, but like,
like, oh no, of course. Like, it's
I just wanted people.
Too late now.
I just wanted people to have a cassette and enjoy it as part of the experience.
Yeah.
Again, stressful amount of work.
Right.
I probably will just do mostly digital things from now on.
I did get a look at the various versions, though. You had like the Wolfpack version, the Knight's Castle version, like the Dark Knight version. I was like, man, this is so cool. Gotta collect them all. Yeah. Someone bought like 3 variants. I'm telling you, you tapped into like a strong nostalgia. It's gonna be some people that are gonna do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
You gotta put that movie on VHS, man.
Yeah. It actually, I mean, I have it on VHS.
Good.
It is here.
The people demand it.
Maybe I should give it away. I don't know.
I'm not trying to tell you what to do. Just you could fucking raffle that shit. Just saying, get your shipping money back.
Get your shipping money back.
Yeah, get that shipping money back.
Here. Yeah,
Short stuff.
raffle.
Great question. Not sure if this has been asked yet. What is your favorite Lego set?
Oh yeah. That's
it's definitely Time Cruisers.
Yes. Is it the Mystic Mountain Time Lab?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Yes. I have that.
It's
right up there. Right up there.
Oh.
I have it too. And I got a deal on it because apparently
nice.
People hate Time Cruisers.
People hate Time Cruisers, bro.
Or
when I bought them, they were so cheap.
Yeah. People of a certain generation of Lego fans hate them, I guess.
Why do they hate them? I don't know much about them. Why
Well,
did they?
I think
So
it's
not
because
really-
they were like a theme of just kind of a little bit of everything and the kitchen sink kind of thrown together.
So people.
I have a theory. I'm sorry, but I have a theory that they just had a lot of extra parts laying around. I really do. But,
Yeah,
but
look
it's
at
like,
that's
right now,
what
this is
a lot of
skeleton.
people have said.
yeah,
Yeah, but the thing is, to me, Time Cruisers is Lego. It's just
yeah,
like
it really is.
it
It's a perfect
represents
example.
Lego.
It's a perfect example of like what kids would make. So, Chris, if you're not familiar, Time Cruisers is like a mid-'90s theme of like this kid and this mad scientist making all these time machines, and they're like cars and like ships that can fly. Like there's like a pirate ship that has like aircraft wings on it.
I'm looking at this right now.
Yeah,
This
the
is-
Mystic Mountain Time Lab has like a shed that can fly off, and it has like a telescope and just like a bunch of just crazy shit on it.
Oh, this is great. I love it. This is so.
It's
bonkers. I think it's so fun.
yeah, it's super
It's-
bonkers.
Exactly. It's very 90s.
Great
and,
choice.
like
Yeah, it
as a
is.
kid, this idea being introduced to me that like Lego is like a collection of universes that you can travel to if you have the right ship.
That's
Like
a
that
great
kind of
idea.
just blew my mind. That was
Yeah.
like my introduction to
That's
like the
a great
multiverse.
concept. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is multiverse. Yeah.
You can put on the Ice Planet 2002 helmet and go to Ice Planet World.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or the
Yeah,
the
just-
the pirate hat. You know,
It's just
I should get a bunch of Tim
imagination kicks it
minifigures and
up.
stick him with all my sets. Like, oh, there's a Tim on the pirate ship. He has a saber. He belongs right here.
Mhm.
You know, and then I can't remember the mad scientist's name, Doctor something. Put him in the Ice Planet spaceship.
Dr. Leonard.
Dr. Leonard, there we go. Shreddy Krueger, great question. I remember your earlier albums felt inspired by early 16-bit RPGs. Were there any games that influenced those earlier albums?
The earlier albums, 16-bit RPGs. You know, not really. I was really into Final Fantasy VII, so that definitely.
Fuck yeah. You got to play the
was
remake.
an RPG. Oh yeah, I've played it.
Good.
although
Did you play Rebirth?
I honestly, I don't know if I really liked it that much.
It was long.
It looks
There were a lot
looks
of
amazing,
minigames.
but it's different than the original.
Yeah, admittedly, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, what else do I like?
So Final Fantasy VII, that's a good choice.
There was a game on NES called Rygar.
Yeah. The guy running around and he
for-
has like the little circular thing that he can throw out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Super early, like proto RPG kind of thing. Like
It's like a side scroller.
Metroidvania. That's definitely embedded in my consciousness. Yeah. What else? I don't know. We skipped we didn't have the Super Nintendo.
Oh, so you never played
We only
Chrono
had the
Trigger?
Genesis. Yeah, so I missed out on a lot of stuff like that.
Wow, there's some good
Um,
stuff on that generation, man.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get to it.
You
My
got
list
this.
is so long.
Well, you're doing important stuff. You're creating.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Luxury Noise wants to know: is there going to be another cassette release of Castle? Did we already cover that?
Audio cassette.
Yep.
There might be. Yeah, someone reached out to me about a label reached out to me. Nothing's set in stone yet, but
Nice.
if I can, I'd really like to do a repress because a lot of people have asked me about it, and yeah, I mean, I love cassettes. More than vinyl.
Hell yeah.
So if I can
Definitely more
do
affordable.
it, I will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A
I tried
vinyl
to-
pressing of Lego Castle would be astounding, though.
So just because it'd be cool, the big cover art's cool, but I do agree
Yep.
about being better in general, particularly for this project.
Yeah.
You want the
Cassettes-
idea of where, and you're literally like bricking a cassette into another. Like there's that process of clicking and
Right.
putting something in, and the snap. You know what I mean? It just makes more
Yep.
sense.
Mm-hmm. Pressing
try-
the play button on a cassette player is a very tactile experience with the
Yeah,
whirring.
exactly.
We all know how important clicking and
much more in line
tactile
with Lego.
experiences are when you're a Lego wizard. Hey, keep the questions coming, guys. We got 8 more minutes. Let's get a few more that we can get in before we finish up. I guess the only question that I would ask would be, being kind of a relative newcomer to the vaporwave scene, what are some things that you feel like we do really well, and what are some areas of opportunity that you think you would gently admonish?
Damn, I mean, I don't know. I just worship you guys, really. I mean, you guys are all awesome. I don't know if I have any critiques.
We just want to platform good people.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just want to keep... I think one of the greatest things about vaporwave is that it has branched out, that it's splintered into so many different subgenres.
Yeah,
like,
agreed.
It's truly an internet genre. Like, people are taking it in their own direction, like making their own thing about it. So I just would love to see more new genres, new forms of nostalgia, new explorations.
Yeah.
Like, one of my favorite things recently is discovering DVI.
I love DVI. We want to bring her on the show.
Like, you would... I'm sure you could call her vapor adjacent, but she's definitely tapped into like a sound that's so far removed from vaporwave. It's still like distantly connected to it.
Very like PS2 core.
Right. I'm definitely dying to know what her equipment is and her patches and everything.
She's not incredibly far from you, and I definitely want to talk to DVI. There is a place for her at the table for damn sure on Hot Takes.
So yeah, just like, what a great example of an innovator in this scene.
Yeah, we definitely can't wait to hear some more DVI stuff. I've got the stuff she did with I think it's Veer Extreme Core, and then the Aurora Memoria. Whatever, it's a long name, and it's all really good, really well done. Very, very unique synth sound, palette, I guess you could say. A very unique palette. Great name drop there, man. Man, I would like to ask some of these other questions, but we don't want to run over time. We like to dedicate the last few minutes of the show to letting you kind of shout out anyone you want, promote anything you want, say anything you want. It just kind of you have the floor.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be here without my fans and my friends. Ultimate, you're my best friend, dude.
Oh yeah, and shout out them for being in chat tonight.
Yeah, they are so cool, artists in their own right. My wife is also my best friend.
Adorable.
I have 2 best friends. Celadon Dreams, thank you. I already shout you out. The other Casses. Yeah, all the artists I'm inspired by. You guys are awesome. Also, 444 introduced me to Hot Takes and told me I should be on it.
I believe I've seen them in the server.
Yeah. So
I don't think I've talked to them as much as I would like to.
I wouldn't even be here without them. Well, that's cool.
Oh, did they invite you to the server?
Yeah.
Shout out 444. For what it's worth, Chris, this is like the first person we've had on that is because of the Discord server.
Wow.
So I think that's personally really cool.
That's crazy. That's very cool.
I'm just happy. That brings me joy.
Good.
Yeah, keep dreaming, everybody. That's all.
Keep dreaming. I love that so much. Well, you were delightful. You were everything I wanted and more. This is possibly one of my favorite episodes. I might be biased because I love Lego so much, but
no, it's great.
I
love the process behind creating everything. Yeah. a lot.
Yep, you asked great questions, Skelly, and you guys did too, chat. Keep dreaming. Y'all check out Dreamcastle. Lux blew up some links earlier. Listen to their work. Watch the Lego Castle video. It's just so
fantastic,
next level. Like, it's clearly it's a bedroom production, but it's just like, whoa! Like, you made this, bro. Like, you got to check it out. It'll move you, you know. But yeah, shout out Dreamcastle. Thank you for being here. There was a small part of me that was afraid you were going to be like, you know, after everyone wanted you to come on. And anyone that voted, if your pick didn't get picked, I made a mental note of the people who almost made it, and they're in the running. And we're going to have another community vote again soon. I'm going to just go into some really quick promo real quick before we finish up. We got Vaporwave Live this Saturday, November 16, at 2 p.m. Eastern, hosted by Dom and Quiz. Shout out Dom McLennan and Quiz.
Dom McLennan. Yeah.
Super cool guys hosting a combination of live, very cool people. You're going to be there playing IRL. I'm doing a URL set, but they're going to be doing live shows with a lot of people from Dom's studio and workspace.
Yeah.
He was gracious enough to kind of host all of that, and we got some URL sets too. It's going to be a great night, great lineup. I'm bringing to the night 20 minutes of Wave and Witch House music, and me and Skelly are back to back.
Oh,
so
yeah, that's right.
The Hot Takes boys are back to back, so I'll warm the room up with the stuff that, I mean, you saw I threw that Salem track on there. Just it's going to be stuff that you're going to, me too, man. You're going to love the set. I already know it, and then you're going to just tear that shit down with Death Romantique and all the other stuff you're working on.
I'm trying.
You guys got to show up. It's twitch.tv/Dom McLennan, 2 p.m. Eastern this Saturday. Vaporwave Live. And then Vapor Rays landed on Saturday, December 14, put on by Utopia District and Indie Advent. They're raising money and awareness for ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. They just dropped the lineup with artwork by Crystal Eternal, our very own Crystal Eternal. Great lineup, got some great people on there, and I'm doing a 20-minute neo R&B set. I feel like I've been talking about this for months, but I'm very excited to bring that early 2010s kind of PBR&B, blue-eyed soul type vibe to Vaporwave. Just finished another kind of set that is for a as yet unreleased, and it's been teased, but I'm afraid to say anything about it. But you know, some people that have had some involvement with Homesick Fest are working on a new URL event, and I put together a 20-minute cloud rap and vapor trap.
Oh, that's very cool.
Set. Actually, the song playing in the background right now is in that set. To those of you that are listening. But anyways, so that's what we got going on. We're gonna have a packed December, and of course, you saw the ad earlier for Late Arcane's event. I'm not in that, but we're gonna run that ad again here in a second. Very, very good month for URL events. So that's what I got going on. What about you, Skelly?
Well, Vaporwave, and of course you can go check out my latest album, which will probably be on Spotify by the time Vaporwave happens. But until then, please go to Hushtone Records, and you can listen to it there. And I believe the cassette tapes, which are sold out, are on their way now. I think they've just been produced, and there may be about a few overstock actually. So keep an eye on Hushtone Records. Not just to see the overstock of my album, but to check out all the albums that they released on that label, because it's one of the coolest labels out there in general. So go check out my new album on that label, purchase the overstock tapes, but also go check out everything else on that label. It's all very cool. And aside from that, Vaporwave. I just did an interview with SlimeWire. You can check out them. They asked me some great questions. Go check that out if you like, and that's about it.
Excuse me. Thank you guys very much for turning out to Hot Takes tonight and making it a special evening for me, Skelly, and Dreamcastle. Thank you to my mods and our team for helping run our server so well. Thank you for all the regulars that showed up, especially people who helped kind of keep that chat going with questions. And thanks for all of you new first-time chatters. Appreciate you guys for being here. Don't forget, you can follow us on social media. You can jump in our Discord server. You can donate.
Check out my photography on Death Romantic.
Yeah, check out Death Romantic on Insta. He's gotten super into it, and it's very good. It's very evocative. Special shout out to our donors tonight. Neon Pines Mall and Burke and who else donated? Somebody special. I'm sorry, but you guys really that means a lot. And then of course, Quiz mentioned in chat, BFant is doing a sale on the original Vaporwave logo shirts. If you hit that link and put in the password in all caps, that'll get you 20% off. So check that out. And then just be sure to tune in 2 weeks. We're bringing on a valued member of the community and special member of our mod team and admin of the mini disc wiki short stuff on Monday, November 25 at 8 p.m. Short stuff from Mini Disc Wiki will be on Hot Takes to represent. And you guys check out the Late Arcane event that I'm going to run an ad for, and have a good night.